Morning all. Dan Charles, morning. John Edwards, good morning to you, sir. Kathy Ann Townsend, good morning. Natalie Faria, morning to you. See who we have here on YouTube. Rena Jennings, morning. Renee Lewis, good morning. Vero Stewart, Daniela Williams, Anna Sisnet, morning all, morning Anna. Carol Myers, good morning, Carol. Alison Haynes, morning. Alison, well, it's good to see that it's sunny in Florida again. Susan Kadukan, good morning. Camilla Dean, morning all. Glenn Richardson, morning to you, sir. Debbie Mackey, morning. Sharon Williams, good morning to you, Valerie. Morning, Val. Charmaine Bernard, Sharon Williams, morning. Yvonne Blake, Deborah Durante, morning. Morning, Joy. Morning, Angie. I don't know if Angie is on as yet, but it's really not in there. Right. Patsy Nelson, good morning. Angie Sherry, morning. J Dimple 56, good morning to you. Alte Aline, morning. Alison Rogers Joseph, morning to you. Gemma Wallace, morning. Carol Thompson. Nicole Caesar, morning to you. Yes, I am. Yes, Nicole, I hope your folks in Separia. I hope I do a good enough job for them. Yes. Speaking about Separia, I saw a video came up about maintenance of the Separia community swimming pool. People complaining that the pool is in a state, but who's responsible for that? Does that fall under the Separia Regional Corporation? Is it the responsibility of the Ministerial Sport? What has the MP for the area done with respect to that? She certainly didn't raise any issue. Only after the fire that claimed the lives of a mother and daughter did she raise the issue about the lack of a fire tender at the Separia fire station. Yet she's the member of parliament and has been so for about 3 decades. I am advised that the Separia fire station has been without a tender for 1 month. So if this tragedy didn't happen, you would not have been advised. But you're the member of parliament for the area. So the swimming pool, instead of they go to the MP and talk to the MP and find out what's happening, what representation can she make? They want to broadcast and come on Facebook and make a bacchanal. Well, if it's to put up the MP, no problem, because clearly she's not doing her work. Does she even have an office day? When does Kamala Prasad go to her office and meet with her constituents? I've never really heard anybody talk about that. I've never really seen video footage or picture. You know, most other MPs would tend to do that. Serving my constituents today, MP's day, office day. Does she do that? I don't know. Anyway. Right, so it's 11:03, so I'll give the guys probably 2 more minutes to come on, and then we can get into it. Dave Emmanuel, good morning. Sarah Richards is telling me volume. I don't know why this thing always stressing me with volume-wise. Let me see what I can do here. See. Yeah, volume-wise, we have to adjust this a little bit. Jennifer Joseph, morning. Yvonne Blake, morning. I don't know what to do with the volume. I know the guys on YouTube don't have a problem with the volume, so I don't know. I don't know if it's Stephen Martel. Good morning to you, sir. Caleb Vern is saying not hearing anything. Are you guys hearing well on YouTube? I don't know why you guys not hearing on Facebook. Some people say they're hearing very well on Facebook. Some people say they're not hearing. Okay, I don't understand why. Some people are saying low volume. Folks on YouTube are hearing pretty well. Okay, I'm gonna need to address this issue because all right, Denise Reed is saying no audio. To understand, is it that some people hearing me on Facebook and some people aren't? Right, so the people on YouTube are saying that they're hearing quite well. Let's see here. Let's see what we can do here. Right. I think people are saying, some people, Adriana Alexis is saying that she's not hearing. Showing Jack is saying she's not hearing. Persons are saying excellent here on YouTube. I don't know what's going on with it's very low on Facebook. I wonder why should I attempt to switch devices? Let's see here. I wonder if you will hear better. People are saying Facebook volume, please. All right, give me a second, folks. Let me see if I can. See, I'm going to try to switch devices. Clarish is also saying she's not hearing. So some people are hearing, some people aren't. They're saying volume. All right, let me see if I can restart the live on Facebook. All right. Right, so person saying it's not me, it's their device. Because as I'm saying, some people are saying they're hearing me on Facebook, and others are saying that they're not. So I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on there. I think I will start to do that. I'll probably use this device instead for YouTube, but for Facebook. But let me see what I could do here. Right. Let's try that again. So the folks on YouTube, sorry again, but I don't know why it is these guys are telling me they're not hearing me on Facebook. So let me try that again. Let's see. Something here. Right. All right. So I think I'm live again, folks, on Facebook. Let me know if it is that you all are hearing me now, please. Alison Boyce, tell me, are you hearing me on Facebook? On Facebook? I see people are now starting to come back in. Tell me if you're hearing me. All right, so Philomena Collins says yes. Yeah, Alison Samuel. So, yeah, you all just let me know if you're hearing me. Sarah Richard says better. Okay, great. Right. Teresa says it's better. Okay, great, wonderful. I don't know what happened there. Good morning to His Excellency Nigel O'Connor, President of Pleasantville, and to Marissa, morning to you. Well, Marissa, I ain't seen any new, maybe I missed it. If you post up any new sketches or paintings on Facebook. Yeah. But you see Marilyn McKenzie, morning to you. So I just give the folks on Facebook a little more time to jump back in, and then we could get into it. Right, John Edwards says plenty better. Alison Rogers. Joseph says plenty better. Okay, great. So we cooking with gas. I don't know what happened there. But Kurt Richards, morning to you. So we discussing today, folks, crime, right? A lot of people have a lot to say about the state of crime in the country. And yes, it is tough. But I want to examine some of the utterances of some of the people. And this is going to have to be a two-part show, because in doing my research, it's way, way, way too much information for me to cover in the normal time that I do. So I am going to have to do part 2 on Thursday, and if the spirit move, I might end up doing it on Tuesday, because it's a lot to touch on. But before I get there, Jennifer Nathan, greetings to you. Good morning. So Denise Reed says some people hearing, some people not. I don't know what happened there. Maria Lyons, good morning to you. Maria is saying that the volume is low. I have another device I could switch to, but I need to use that. All right, I'll see how I can address that. I'll probably have to switch devices to do that. And I'll see how that works. I mean, I can do it this morning. This is the device that I'm using to do my reading from. So I will try and switch it at the next slide. But before I get into the main topic of the issue of the crime and so on, right? So I see that in La Romaine we have a new skating rink. Jama is saying the volume is low. Some of you all might have to switch to, if it's possible, if you could switch to YouTube, because it seems that the volume is quite fine on YouTube. Pauline Buckmeyer is saying volume, please. So it seems we're having the problem again. So somebody is saying whatever I'm touching is making it, makes it louder. And so I don't know if I probably have to put the mic closer to, yeah. So I saw that we have, right, so Joyce Smallwood is saying loud and clear on YouTube, but can't comment. How come? How can't comment? I don't understand why. I'm seeing a lot of people commenting. Right, I'll check on that for you, Joyce. Don't know why. I don't know if you subscribe to the page. That might help if you haven't. Right. So I'm seeing where there's a new skating rink in La Romaine. Right. So Keith Marcel is saying post the YouTube link. Post if you Keith, if you go into YouTube, you could type in facts. No, facts are stubborn things, or you could go to my Facebook page, DOMINIKNR. So just type in DOMINIKNR and it should come up. And Sarah Richards is saying they have to click on the live chat on the YouTube. Yeah. So either facts are stubborn things or DOMINIKNR, and you should be able to get through. Right, then he's really saying, okay, so everybody go to YouTube. The audio is very good there. All right, so, but don't worry, and the next, I'll use a different device to do the Facebook on the next slide. So I was touching on this new skating rink that we have in La Romaine that opened, I think it was Thursday or Friday. And from all reports that are coming out, the patronage so far has been extremely good. Very, very long lines. So Clayton said, I live not far from the skating rink and I haven't been inside as yet. Yes, Clayton. So the lines have been very long. And in reading the reports and that have been posted on Facebook, there's one thing I found interesting, is that the cost of, and let me make it abundantly clear. I have no issue with the skating rink. I think it's good that we have new facilities coming on board for persons to provide entertainment, right? Apart from what we are accustomed to. And it's needed. Now, that's one of the benefits. The other benefit, of course, is this claim, that nobody wants to invest in Trinidad. Trinidad is a waste of time. The crime situation in the country, time making sense. Foreign direct investment, nobody wants to. That's what the UNC is saying. Kamala Prasad says that. Nobody wants to invest in Trinidad. Really? Well, I think that facility, I would imagine, cost quite a bit of money. And I think it was started by a foreigner. But nevertheless, it's $85 for 20 minutes to skate. No problem. The people charge the price and, But there were very, very long lines of persons attending so far since it has opened. What I find interesting about that, we have people complaining that they can't afford $17 more on their light bill for the month, which works out about $204 for the year. $17 a month, $204 for the year. But I have no problem spending $85 to skate for 20 minutes. Half of them never even put on skates in their life. So they go into the skating rink and they're gonna hold on and just walk around for the 20 minutes. And then they're gonna come out and they're probably gonna go for a second round. Some of them, based on the comments I've been seeing, a lot of people intend to make multiple visits, repeat visits. And each time it's $85 for 20 minutes. I have no problem paying $85 for 20 minutes, but don't tell me to pay $17 more per month for light bill. I don't want to pay property tax, which is gonna cost me $81 a month, right? $972 for the year. Don't tell me nothing about that. But I don't mind spending $85 to skate or attempt to skate for 20 minutes. Yeah? And I'm probably gonna visit there multiple times. If a family of 4 goes there and they take 20 minutes each, right? So that's 20 minutes, that's $85 by 4. That's $340. One family is spending for 20 minutes. But they can't afford. They complaining, don't I want to pay property tax? $81 a month is too much. $17 a month, yeah, that's too much. Yeah, money, electricity bill. Or they want to kill the executive of the RIC. They want to bust Glenn Canhead, Dawn Calendar. All they want to kill her. Yeah, all they wicked and evil. All they're doing the bidding of this wicked rowdy government. All they just want to dig out poor people alive. But the same poor people who complaining and griping, yeah, going down to the skating rink. Well, to each his own. I have no problem with it. I can't skate. I can't see whether or not I would go. But maybe perhaps if some friends invite me and they go not for Lime, I have no problem. I will. I'll probably think about it. It's not an issue. But I'm just saying. I just want to highlight the hypocrisy of some of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I always say, people will pay for what it is what they deem to be important to them. Yeah? What they deem to be important to them, or what they place value on, they have no problems paying. But the wider picture about the development of the country, they have an issue. Yeah. But anyway, moving on. So, for yet another time, no, before I get there. So, the supporters and membership of the UNC are yet again beside themselves, happily so, with another statistic that has come out with respect to crime and the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago, which, for all intents and purposes, makes the government look bad. Yeah? I'm referring to the Trinidad and Tobago's ranking of being the 6th most criminal country in the world. 6th most, for the second, well, not for the second year running. In fact, it's actually for the 4th year running. But the media wouldn't talk about that. For the 4th year running, that we have been ranked 6th most criminal country in the world. And statistics like that, news like that, always is good news for supporters and members of the UNC. Because remember, it's party before country. You would think that for the rest of us, seeing hearings, rankings such as that would be of concern as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago first. Before party supporters, we are citizens first. And on that basis alone, we should be concerned. But no, they're glad to see stuff like that. So whenever the media decides to promote this, and you look in the comments, yeah, great is the PNM. All you vote for that. Elections have consequences. Yeah, don't complain now. All you vote on race, and that is what voting on races give all you. Who tell all you vote for the PNM? They're happy because they have something they could push and say, right, you see, we tell all you, every time the PNM come into power, crime statistics goes up. Love to boast about that. I always say, and you will always hear me say it, and I'll repeat it again. We don't have journalists in this country. We have bacchanalists. Bacchanalists who probably still toting over the fact that under the PP, they used to be getting all kind of benefits, to publish positive stories for the government. So when they were getting, who wasn't getting houses, preferential treatment with respect to HDC houses, they were getting every year their massive vouchers, their grocery vouchers for massive $1,000 and so on, and whatever other perks were provided to them by members of the government so that they could publish positive stories, some of which I'm sure we have not heard. But those two things in particular we've heard about. preferential treatment with respect to HTC housing for certain journalists, and the $1,000 vouchers that they would have gotten for Christmas to go buy Massey and shop to buy the ham and the turkey and what have you. None of that under this administration. Publish what they want, right? If you all wish to publish the truth, no problem. And if it is you decide to publish the truth in such a manner as to make the government look bad, well, that's all your business too. That's all your work. The government has its job to do, and the media has their job to do, right? So they published the statistics. So come back because it's been being bandied about on social media. Kick out the PNM and other pro-UNC Facebook profiles have been promoting that, and of course stirring up their supporters, and I think it was referenced by a couple of UNC heads as well. Why did I reference the media with respect to the publication of that? Well, you see, one would expect that the media would go and do their research and present these statistics in the right light. But I would do the research. So, sixth, we are now ranked sixth, the sixth most criminal country in the world. And I always have issues with these rankings because it's based on a per capita strategy. So it's the number of crimes, particular crimes, per 100,000 persons in the country. We have roughly 1.5 million citizens in Trinidad and Tobago, which is not a very big population. I always say Trinidad and Tobago, as citizens of this country, we should consider ourselves fortunate. We are, as I say, an endangered species in comparison to other countries where you have hundreds of millions of, tens of millions and hundreds of millions of citizens. If in Trinidad and Tobago and the mainland, we have about 1.4, 1.5 million, and let's say we have another 500,000 citizens around the world. It means that in a world with a population of close to 8 billion, it does have about 2 million Chinese. We're special, as opposed to places like the US where you have 331 million people, China where you have 1.4, 1.5 billion, India 1-point-something billion people. Consider yourself special. There's only 2 million of us, all right? Yeah. But in sixth position from 2019 to 23, the media won't talk about that. They make it look as if this is something that just happened under the PNM, all right? And as I said before, the supporters of the UNC, when they see those statistics come out, yeah, they chanted, great is the PNM. Yeah, great, vote PNM. I wonder if in 2013, when the same publication was posting rankings, if they were shouting, great is the UNC, all you vote for that. If in 2013 they were saying, and you want to vote based on race and elections have consequences, why am I saying that? In 2013, you know what our ranking was on this same publication, this same entity? We were the third most criminal country in the world in 2013 under Madam, the government which I led brought serious crimes down to the lowest it's ever been in decades. 2013, she's the Prime Minister. Minister of National Security, Emmanuel George. Trinidad and Tobago ranked the third most criminal country in the world. Same publication, but the media won't go back and dig up together. 2014, we were ranked the fifth most criminal country in the world. 2014, right? I was only able to go back to 2013. I tried to get 11 and 12, but I don't know if it is that they only started doing these rankings from 2013 or so on. But 2013, we were third. Now, last I checked, on that type of ranking, sixth is better than third, right? Right now, we are the sixth most, again, because of using this whole per capita thing. But third is closer to first. The first is Venezuela. I'll come into that just now. So in 2013, they wasn't shouting, great is the UNC. They weren't shouting, you vote for that. At third, the supporters of the UNC, the members of the UNC who today are so concerned, and Rowley must go, and Hines must go because we ranked sixth. In 2013, they weren't saying Kamla must go. In 2013, they weren't saying Emmanuel George, National Security Minister number 3 in 3 years. They weren't saying he needs to go. No, but today, sixth. Unless we're talking Kamla-matics, sixth. And a ranking like this is better than third. Rowley must go. Hines must go. Hashtag Hines must go. And 2015, after the election, right? Keith Rowley, PNM comes into office. We moved from 5th to 8th. 2016, we moved from 8th to 9th. 2017, we moved from 9th to 10th. So we were heading in the right direction, lower and lower and lower on that ranking. Who was the Prime Minister in 2016? Kamla? Who was the Prime Minister in 2017? Kamla? 8th, 9th, 10th, PNM come in, but they love to say under when the PNM come in office, see crime always going up. They'll talk about that too. Right? But the media wouldn't publish those statistics to tell you that. 2018, we went from 10th to 5th. Enter Gary Griffith, the Superman of commissioners of police. Best commissioner of police. So he and some others, who supporting he. We went from 10th in 2017 under Stephen Williams. 2018, August Gary come in, 5th. Started heading in the wrong direction. And then from 2019, Gary again. 2020 was also Gary. We went to 6th, and we've been at 6th since then. You see, the thing is, and what people don't remember, is that when the UNC were in office, the People's Partnership, one and the same, they were always reporting every week. We're having a press conference, the police service having a press conference to talk about the reduction in serious crimes, right? Not murder. We know every week we hear how many rapes, how many burglaries, how many shootings, malicious wounding. So they're giving us a breakdown of all the major crimes. To say, look, you see, it's coming down. At least a focus on the murder issue. Because to take the citizens' attention away from the focus on murder, let us have the police come every week and give you statistics on the other major crimes. And we were just throwing murder there, as an aside. So we can say, well, notwithstanding the fact that, yes, we're still having a challenge with murder, but look at all the other serious crimes. Look how they're going down. They're doing that under this administration, right? How often do we see well, when Gary was there, he used to be getting a weekly or so press conference. Again, because you had to make yourself look good, right? You love the camera, as we saw yesterday, but we can talk about that too. The focus was on the major crimes. We brought down major crimes the lowest in decades. So says Mrs. Kamala Prasad, says, but according to this ranking that they promoting now, under her, 2013, 2014, those 2 years were worse. We were ranked lower or worse than we are ranked now. But we don't remember that. Now we would think, as a responsible party, these are the statistics. So what the social media officers are supposed to do on the social media committee is to go and pull up this, screenshot it, create a post and put it out on social media so it can be shared. Put it in the various PNM Facebook pages, right? Disseminate it among your social media officers in the constituency, because they have 41 social media officers. Let this be shared across. Some person should be sharing it on their Facebook pages. They should be sharing it in their WhatsApp chat groups to ensure that it is going out. So that when the UNC come and they publish their nonsense, kick out the PNM want to publish, we ranked 6th in the world as the most criminal country. 6th. But Hines and them talking about this. But Rowley, I want to fire Hines. And they studying to do this and studying to do that. Just post that. I will just go in the comments. I have it waiting in my arsenal and I go in the comments. Well, in 2013, when you all were told, how come you wasn't calling for the minister and the prime minister to go? But you're calling for minister and prime minister to go now and blasted hypocrites. But guess what? The people don't have that. The supporters and membership for the PNM do have that. Why? The entity that is responsible for providing them with that information, we not publishing. I'm going to tell you what it is. Anyway, let me not go there. Let me leave that alone. Right? I try to talk about, let me leave that alone. But I just thought for good measure I would mention it. But as I said, not because you're on radio means that you are the better candidate. The person who, the best candidate is the one who, what was it? Let me see. I don't want to misquote. You must be well known. You must have a following, right? And you must be able to be, what's the term that was used by? In people profile or inbox or whatever it is, stalking them night and day. All right. Okay. Well, that's the profile. I'm not on TikTok. I have no plans to go on TikTok, but anyway. So I just thought I would bring those statistics for you, right? 2013, we ranked third, the third most criminal under Kamala. 2014, 5th under Kamala, right? 2018, so 2016, 2015 under Keith Rowley, 8th when they came in. 2016, we were 9th. 2017, we were 10th. So we were heading, as I said, in the right direction. Down. 2018, it went back up. Under the greatest commissioner of police ever. I didn't say so, he says so. 2019 to 2023, 6th. So for the majority of time under Keith Rowley, our ranking on this particular entity, right, in the global scale, has been better than it was under Kamla Prasad Visasa. But great is the PNM, as they say. The PNM, Rowley must go, the PNM must go, and Hines must go. Interestingly, and this is why I don't really rely too much on these rankings, right? Jamaica is under us. Jamaica is lower down on the ranking than we are. Jamaica, which in 2022, recorded 1,498 murders. 1,498 murders in 2022. The day below us, we are the 6th most criminal country in the world. But Jamaica has a population of 2.9, almost 3 million. Let me say good morning to my cousin Curtis Joseph. Yes, sir, I had to call him back, but I'll call him now in a little bit. Yeah, and right below us, we are now 6th. Right below us, Guyana. Yes, the next Dubai at the Caribbean. Well, the next Dubai, as they say. With all the oil money, they're just below us, 7th. Right? But you have persons in this country, business owners and so on, who complain the crime situation is so terrible that if it is not addressed soon, we are going to have to pack our bags and close our businesses and migrate. Migrate to where? To Guyana, which is 7th, just behind us. Well, a lot of you are already doing that because it have money to burn in Guyana. So some of them, yeah, they have the business here, but instead of investing in the economy of Trinidad and Tobago and boosting our economy, they're taking the money and they're running to Guyana because it have opportunities there. All right, no problem with that. It making sense. Go where where the money could be made. Do that. Where else you're going to migrate to? Because this crime situation in this country is so terrible, it's unbearable. You'll have to close your businesses and migrate. We're going to go to the United States. The United States of America, where you have property tax that you all don't want to pay in Trinidad. The United States of America, where aside from having to be concerned about the possibility of your business being robbed, because that happens there too, you also have concerns with the situation of you could be a victim of a mass shooting just by going to the mall, going to church, going to the bank, taking your children to school. In an open air, you could be in an open air concert and a man rent a room on a hotel nearby and opens fire, right? And shooting people, just so. Anyway, you could end up finding yourself a statistic with respect to a mass shooting. But you want to close up your business and migrate. All right, no problem. To each his own. Yeah, because we continue to talk the country bad. But nobody is addressing what is, to my mind, the main issue, right? And this is, again, based on my own research. The main issue as to why the crime situation in the country is where it is. We talk about everything else. It's because of poverty. It's because of our lack of opportunity. It's because of our lack of jobs and how many people have lost their jobs. And it's because of the situation with respect to the schools and everything we're talking about. Except what is the main thing. Minister Hines, Fitzgerald Hines, the Minister of National Security, recently, again, was chastised for a statement that he made. This time, that crime plans are not his responsibility as the Minister of National Security. That what his responsibility is policy and to provide resources to the various arms of national security, the police, the fire, the army, and who on. Provide them with the technical resources, the financial resources, the human resources that they need to do the job that they are responsible for, which is to protect the country, right? Now, everybody want to kill Fitzy. Fitzy must go. I'm a partner. Mr. Hines, you're my friend, right? Please stop giving the media and the UNC some bites to beat you with. You see, because they don't want to understand what it is that you're saying. While you understand and others understand the point that you're making, that it is not the job of the National Security Minister to give directions or directives to the various arms that fall under the Ministry of National Security. You see, because when the minister decides to intervene, UNC and the supporters, first thing they're quick to do is to jump up on board. The government interfering with the police. The government want to tell the police how to do their work. The government using the police to intimidate and to persecute supporters and members of the opposition. But you're coming now to advocate that the minister should create a crime plan. Now, if the minister sit down and he creates a crime plan with the technocrats in his ministry or whoever else in National Security Council, at the end of the day, he developed a plan. But who has to roll out these plans? Who has to implement this plan? Who has to operationalize this plan? It's the police. Now, in order for the plan to work, the minister now has to pick up the phone and every morning call Christopher. How is my crime plan going? Well, minister, the police service, we have put out. No. I don't want to hear what you're doing. I have given you a crime plan. You are supposed to effect my crime plan. Don't do nothing else, right? My crime plan is foolproof 100%. I just want to hear how you operationalize my crime plan so I could look good. That is what they're advocating. So the minister should know direct. But the other day, the same Motomo, former commissioner of police, yesterday he was on a walkabout, right? He and his NTA people. I can't remember if it was Diego Martin or wherever they were working. And the media interviewed him. And he was only too happy to yap. And he commented on Mr. Hines' statement that crime plans is not the responsibility of the Minister of National Security. That is the job of the Commissioner of Police and the divisional heads of the police service, because they know what is the strength of the police service, they know what their resources are, and how best they could deploy their officers to operationalize whatever strategy they come up with. Remember when Howard Chinley was Minister of National Security under Mr. Manning, and he attempted to create crime plan operation, remember Anaconda? I can't remember the name of the other one. But they rake him over the coals. They laugh at him, all kind of thing. But they advocated now for the minister to come up with a crime plan to direct the police what to do. But the other day, when the Prime Minister called a meeting of the executive of the police service, as well as the divisional heads, Motomo had an issue with that. Oh, the Prime Minister, and that it was wrong for the Prime Minister and the National Security Council to meet with the divisional heads of the police because it gave the impression that the political directorate, that the Prime Minister and that the government is managing or calling the shots with respect to the operational side of the police. So he had an issue with the Prime Minister meeting with the executive. He said the executive is okay, but you can't meet with the divisional heads. That was out of place on the part of the Prime Minister. But you want crime plan. You want crime plan. The Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security must formulate crime plan, but don't include the divisional heads of the police, the ones who are in charge of the officers' daily operations to ensure that the officers doing what they're supposed to do. Don't include them, but create crime plan that excludes them, and that making sense to him. So when Motomo was interviewed yesterday, he is appalled that the Minister of National Security could say that formulation of crime plans is not his job. That is the job of the Commissioner of Police. Because when he was Minister of National Security, Motomo that is, he implemented the National Operations Center and all the other things that he put in place as the Minister of National Security. Well, okay, Motomo, you put all them things into place. If these things were so good, right, that you put in place, they are supposed to be able to survive or live past whichever national security minister put it in place. Because it's supposed to be so good that whether you, Fitzy, Antoine, Edmond Dillon, Stuart Young, whoever is the Minister of National Security, these entities are supposed to be able to continue to function and to do the job for which they were established. So how come it are working all that great now? All these great things that you put in place when you were Minister of National Security. It ain't working now. Why is that? You want to blame the PNM, right? But these are supposed to be independent institutions, independent entities. All they need from the government is money to purchase equipment, personnel, and so on. But they know what their role and function is. Are you then implying that the minister should get involved into the day-to-day operations of all of these entities and tell them what to do? So go to the SSA and say, here what? I call in the shots here. I want you to spy on Gary. I want you to spy on Kamla, right? They had a problem with that, claiming that government always interfering and they're using the protective services to persecute members and supporters of the UNC, right? But you want now, you're advocating for the minister and the government to now come and tell these entities what to do. so that you could come and say, look, you see, look, we tell earlier, look, we have proof here where Hines sent an email to the head of the SSA and telling them what to do. And look, we have an email here where Hines sent it to the Commissioner of Police and telling her how to do her job. Always talking nonsense about how the government interfering in the run of independent institutions. But you want the minister to create a crime plan. Again, so the minister created the crime plan and sent it to the Commissioner of Police. How it working? Who monitoring it? Is his crime plan. So if it ain't working, you know what's the sad thing in this country? 2018 to 2020, right? When Gary Griffith was the Commissioner of Police, and it seemed as if we were getting some results by way of crime reduction. Nobody was saying, good job, Stuart Young. Nobody was saying, good job, Fitzgerald Hines. Nobody was saying, good job, Keith Rowley. I'm talking about on the other side. All who complaining now want Hines to go and Rowley to go. They weren't given any credit to the Minister of National Security when it seemed that the crime statistics were coming down, when it seemed as if it is that we were finally getting a handle on crime. So it appeared. Nobody was given credit to the minister, right? Everybody is Gary's the best thing since sliced bread. It's because of Gary, the commissioner. So Gary was controlling everything. Gary was getting the results. The commissioner, without any contribution or anything from the minister. So it was all Gary, 100% Gary. So the commissioner was responsible for everything there. How is it now when we see somewhat of a turnaround that nobody blaming the commissioner, but it's only Hines, and Hines must go, and Hines is a failure, and Hines, when it ain't good, blame the minister, but when it's good, give the credit to the commissioner, right? Never mind the fact that while Gary was commissioner for the majority of the time, a significant portion of the time that he was commissioner, he benefited from the COVID lockdown. So the criminals was inside, everybody inside. When the Prime Minister says stay home, so it would have been a little difficult for the criminals to come out and commit the crime and then mingle and sort of disappear in between the average citizen, because you're not supposed to be out on the road. So he benefited from that. Then we had the state of emergency or whatever it is as the case may be, curfew and so on. So he benefited from all of that, but they're not going to give credit to that, right? It's because Gary was this maverick. Gary have all the ideas and he know how to control crime. Really? The criminals afraid Gary when they hear Gary and the boys coming. Oh gosh, they run in and hide because they're afraid Gary. SORT, sorry. That was the Special Operations Response Team, better known as Gary and the boys, right? Why were they feared? Because if it is Gary and the boys that have come for you for committing a crime, well, the likelihood of you seeing the inside of a jail cell was as likely as you getting caught for committing a crime now. It was more likely that you would end up the subject of an autopsy at the Forensic Science Center if Gary and the boys had come for you. Right? Remember that the two men who were accused of or who were alleged to have kidnapped and killed Andrea Barth. Remember what their fate was? One man fall off the chair and he dead. And the next one, same thing. Well, he didn't fall off a chair. But similar injuries when the autopsy was done. The extensive injuries to both of these men. Remember that? Gary and the boys. Yeah. That's what we need. Vigilante justice, right? Well, case in point. Johnny Abraham. All you know that name? You remember that name? Former senior superintendent, former head of the Shogunas, the Central Division, Johnny Abraham, on, was it Wednesday or Tuesday night? Let me see, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday night. He was invited to speak at a meeting that was held in Shogunas by the Shogunas West Member of Parliament, Dinesh Rambali. And Mr. Abraham said some rather interesting things, right? That has me concerned as him being a former senior police officer. I don't know how many of you saw the clip. I don't know how many of you would have read the article. Let me give you some of what Mr. Abraham had to say. Former senior superintendent, former head of the Central Division, Johnny Abraham. The head of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Central Division is seeking to assure the public that his officers will continue to conduct their business in a professional manner, despite strong condemnation from a former division head who believes they are being too soft on criminals. Speaking at a town hall meeting on crime and felicity on Wednesday, former senior superintendent Johnny Abraham said officers are failing to send the correct message. Referencing a home invasion in Aranjuez, San Juan, over the Easter weekend, Abraham questioned why only one of the suspects was killed. He questioned why only one was killed. And I'm quoting him here. One man was shot and killed, but the thing is that they hold the next 5. What difference it would have made with the next 5? Now, I'm not telling the police to commit any murder, but what difference it would have made with the next 5? When you send that kind of message, you want to bet me they don't come back to rob people. What difference would it have made with the next 5? Don't hold them. Kill them. That's basically what they say. Well, they kill 1, but 6. Rather than kill the next 5. What was the point? You find something to say, as we always do, right? Pull 2 guns and put and say they open fire and all, and you return fire and you kill them. Something. I commented that just now, right? This is Johnny Abraham. What is significant about that? I commented that too. Someone from the audience chimed in, we need stronger laws. Laws, Abraham said, looking into the crowd, waste of time in this country. Laws are a waste of time in this country. Do away with the laws. He continues. Imagine now the article says retire. That's not what he said. He said, imagine I resign 7 years now and I have matters in court since 2000. Great is the PNM. This is Johnny Abraham, I'm quoting him here. Great is the PNM. That is why they will never want me come back. This is for my head of the Central Division. Great is the PNM. That is why they will never want me to come back. Yeah, great is the PNM. Well, if we had any doubts as to where Mr. Abraham's political allegiances lie, I think we know now, right? I think we know now. Because at the end of the story, it's not quoted here, but at the end of the story, we saw it on video. He indicated to Dinesh Rambali that if the UNC ever comes back into office, he is willing to make himself available for service. He, Johnny Abraham, the former head of the Central Division, is willing to make himself available for service. Service in what capacity, sir? Are you offering yourself to serve as one of the 4 ministers that Kamala Prasad-Bissessar has indicated she will put in place to deal with crime? The Minister of National Security, the Minister of Justice, the Minister of Defense, and the Minister of Homeland Affairs or Home Affairs. Which one you want? National Security? Right? And of course, because there's an advocacy that the minister should get involved in crime plan. What would your crime plan be? What would your crime plan be, sir? Because as you said here, laws waste our time in this country. So we're not about laws. We're not about innocent until proven guilty. We're not about due process. Waste our time in this country. This is Johnny Abraham who is offering himself to serve the UNC should they come back into office. Yes, and I imagine at a ministerial capacity, national security advisor, hoping that maybe you want to throw your hat in the ring again to become commissioner of police, and they will support you. Yeah, because I mean, where's age? Yeah, old people, nothing wrong with that. They can amend the law to adjust the age because Kamala Prasad-Bissessar says that one of her crime plans is to increase the retirement age for members of the defense force from 45 to 60. Because as she said, at 45, they're still able-bodied and so on. And therefore, people always come, anyway, let me not go there. But that is so we can adjust the laws to allow a 70-year-old or a 75-year-old to be the commissioner of police because he has the ideas. And he's a former policeman and he knows how to run the thing, right? He goes on. The criticism of police officers didn't end there. However, as the former Central Division head said, the Shogunas police station has the worst set of officers working there. Contacting on Abraham's criticism, however, Senior Superintendent Michael Pear, who is the current head of the Central Division, believes while Abraham is entitled to his opinion, the clear message that his officers are sending is that crime is everyone's business. I go on again. Let me quote Johnny again. But the public was not spared as well by Abraham during the meeting, as he urged them to stop making themselves soft targets, and when confronted with criminals, they should deal with them. I'm not telling you all what to do if somebody comes in your house and you all arm yourselves with cutlasses. Deal with them in whatever manner you see fit, but know what to say after. And I could stand up here and tell you that I defended people who deal with criminals and I'm not afraid of no back inquiries. David West, Police Complaints Authority, have their work to do. Them have their work to do, and police service have their work to do. So here what? Anybody come out, deal with them. I will coach you all on what to say. Yeah? I will coach you all on what to say. So even if it is that the person come in and they're not armed, deal with them. Draw your cutlass or whatever it is you have. You deal with them. But know what to say after, because you don't want to end up in a demaria. You don't want to end up in a cell on remand. Know what to say. But he's offering himself a service should the UNC come back into office. Yeah, with this mindset, right? This is the mindset. This is Johnny Abraham. The man who don't know the difference between retire and resign. Say you resigned 7 years ago. No, say you retired 7 years ago. The words cannot be used interchangeably. All right? But just on that basis alone, I understand why it is he chose to align himself with the UNC. He has already satisfied the number one criteria to be a UNC minister. Take it. Right? Yeah, don't know the difference between resign and retire. But anyway, he goes on to say, let me see here, boy. He says, we have cases in Trinidad where a man came into someone's yard to thief an avocado and the landowner shoots him, but he ends up getting charged. Because what you're supposed to do is to ascertain if you're being attacked and use reasonable force. So this was the attorney, Rajiv Prasad, saying this, right? So Mr. Abraham raised the issue of him being upset over the fact that 7 years now he resigned, retired, and he still has matters in court from the year 2000. Great is the PNM. Because when he said that, somebody in the audience said, great is the PNM. It's not the PNM fault. That you still have matters in court from since 2000 that has not been dispensed with as yet. Never mind the fact that you have lawyers in this country who have made a business out of crime. Right? And it is in their best interest to have these matters tied up in the court from since 2000 and before that. That's how they're making the money. A lot of people who go into pursuit of law to become lawyers, attorneys now. It's not about justice. It's about it is one of those careers in which you could get rich very quick. If you're in line with the right political party, you could get briefs, no matter the fact that you're a junior attorney. You probably never see the inside of a courtroom except for when you went to when you were called to the bar. But you're getting $1 million briefs, as we saw between 2010 to 2015. People collecting brief, handling cases, not once they didn't reach inside the courthouse yet. They didn't see inside the courtroom yet to deal with this matter. But sending invoice to get paid on the briefs, millions of dollars, when normally it would take months and sometimes years for attorneys to get the briefs. These people, they get the brief up, they were awarded the brief today, and next week they send in invoice already to collect millions of dollars. And this happened just before the 2015 general election. I'm trying to find that article, that detail, that whole situation there. Junior attorneys now come out of school, now come out of law school, but collecting $1 million briefs. Yeah? Right. Briefs that would normally be given to senior counsel. We're collecting that in 2010 to 2015, but we don't talk about that. Right? No, we ain't talking about that. But Mr. Abraham is concerned that since 2000, you have matters in the court that up to now hasn't been dispensed with. I always give the example of some years ago when I was called for jury duty. I got the summons. I wasn't selected, thank goodness. And I wasn't selected because, fortunately, on the day that my name was called for me to go up in the courtroom for the defense and the prosecution to make the choices, I arrived late. Fortunately for me, on that day, my name was already called. So I had to pay a fine of $300 that they discharged me, right? But what I found interesting was that when I went, and so there was that, right? When I went, we sat down in the courtroom. The judge had about 6 cases that she was trying to empanel a jury for. And every time she called a case, is the prosecution ready? Yes, my lady. Is the defense ready? My lady, counsel for the defense is currently is dealing with another matter in another court, in another courtroom. So the judge had to stand down the matter and send somebody to call the attorney to appear in her court to be able to, so that they could go through the process of selecting a jury. Second case call, same thing. Is the prosecution ready to proceed? Yes, my lady. Is the defense ready to proceed? My lady. The attorney for the defense is currently before another court, in another courtroom. And every matter that come up, that is how it going. So the judge has to keep standing it down, because one attorney dealing with about 3 or 4 cases that call on the same day. So they can't duplicate themselves. So you're in one courtroom and you're holding up proceedings in the other courts, in the other courtroom where you have the persons, where you have clients. And the jury cannot be empaneled because the defense attorney for the defendant is not in the courtroom, right? When you come now and you come in the courtroom, because they send and call you, you reach. When you pull in the courtroom now, well, out of the 6 cases, the defense is there, the prosecution is ready. So we go through the process of selecting the jury. So they have a bag with numbers, and each juror has a number. They dip in the bag, they pull out the number, right? They check on the list. Number 65, Dominic Romain. All right. You go and you sit down in the box. If it is that, now whatever strategy the defense uses or whatever strategy the prosecution uses, once the name is called and they see the person, if they have an issue, they could say, object. And once an objection is made, either by the defense or the prosecution, the judge will then excuse that person and tell them, okay, you're free to leave. Whatever reason, and I was trying to figure out what's the reason. Again, I don't like to go down the race route, but sometimes it has been said that if it is the defendant is of a particular race, the defendant's attorneys might have it in their head, well, if it is that we can empanel a jury that is of a similar race to the defendant, we have a better opportunity, a better chance of winning the case. Because that's the only thing, because I'm saying, you don't question the person name just get called, you never see them before. They come out in the box and challenge, not object, challenge, and the judge say, all right, you can leave. You can leave. From the time anybody challenge, defense or prosecution, you could leave. So because of that problem, with one attorney having 2 and 3 and 4 defendants, all their matters being called on the same day, and you cannot come in the court for an extended period of time to go through the jury selection process. We had to go through that day after day after day after day, till eventually, what I learned from this exercise is that when they call a group of people in a particular month, this is the group for this month. So if it is that the month ends, that panel or that group of persons does not carry over to the following month, right? So that is what happened to us. So on the first day of the new month, when the judge started the process, she had to discontinue it, and then she came and she said, well, ladies and gentlemen, my apologies, but I have to inform you that you are all free to leave because you all would have been selected for the month of so-and-so, but we are now in a new month, and so therefore we have a new group of persons who will summons for this month, so you all are free to go. So we went through that for more than a week, trying to empanel a jury for 6 different cases, and couldn't do that because why? Attorneys want to represent multiple persons at the same time. You can't do it, and you holding up the court process. But Abraham telling you he have matters in the court since 2000. Great is the PNM. That's the PNM's fault. When it is that you have UNC attorneys, the likes of Anand Ramlogan and Jayanti Lakshmi, who will go to the court and petition the court to make murder a bailable offense. That's not contributing to crime in the country. No. That's not holding up what's taking place. Because when it is now that these bail applications is taking up the court's time, so when the court should be dealing with other matters that have been pending for the longest while, they have to be dealing with bail applications for murder. Bail applications for persons who normally, if it is that the UNC had given support to the bail amendment bill, these persons would have been behind bars for at least 120 days, no bail. But because you all refuse to support the legislation, a man could get caught once, twice, 3 times with firearms, right? He could have 2 other matters pending. And a 3rd time he get caught because he out on bail for the 2 previous. He get caught a 3rd time with a gun. And normally, as the AG had indicated when they were pushing the bill, we're not really dealing, we hear what the UNC say, that, persons have a constitutional right to bail and so on. That we are not saying, it's not that we are not mindful of this. So if the person is a first-time offender, all right, you give them a blind. But when the person is a repeat offender, 2, 3, 4 times, you get charged with gun possession. This person has shown themselves to be a menace to society and does not deserve to be out on bail, does not deserve to be walking amongst ordinary citizens. They have shown they have a propensity to crime and should be behind bars. The UNC said, no. The Constitution allows the person to apply for bail. We're not supporting that. You know what? So the sunset clause, right. So you get caught with how many times you get caught with a gun, you just come and apply for bail and you could get through. Now it's up to the discretion of the magistrate or the judge to give you bail. But the time that it's taking the court to hear these bail applications, the court could have been dealing with other matters, other long-standing matters, but the court now has to be bogged down with a series of applications for bail for crimes for which a person should really be behind bars. So for that 120 days, the court will have to deal with them. Let them cool off inside a cell. Since you want to commit crime and you want to be toting gun all over the place, you are a gunman, like it's Wild Wild West, and you want to be strapped up to the hilt, well, all right, you take a cool off inside for 120 days. And in that 120 days, the court will deal with other matters, other more pressing matters, rather than being bogged down with bail applications. Who do that? The PNM did that. It was a PNM parliamentarians who don't want to support the bail bill. It was good in 2013 under the UNC. They saw the need for it, but the PNM in charge now, right? We don't want that because we need to ensure that crime flourishes in Trinidad and Tobago so that the government could look bad. Remember, Basdio Pandey said, it is not the job of the opposition to make the government look good. And if it is supporting legislation that could get a handle on crime and bring down the crime statistics, the opposition supporting that is going to make the government look good, we can't support that. Pandey said that years ago. It is not the job of the opposition to make the government look good. So we ain't supporting no legislation that could make all you look good. When Pandey got up and he said, we have the solution to crime. Put us back into office and we will implement those solutions. Mr. Manning said, well, here what? If you have the solution, come and sit down with us. As a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, put country before party. Come, sit down with us, let us discuss your crime plan and see what aspects of it we could implement to protect the citizens. It is not the job of the opposition to make the government look good. So we keep in the crime plan to ourselves. We're not telling all you nothing. You all are the government, figure it out. Who dead, and who badly wounded. In the time that it takes till the next election, we hugging up the crime plan and devil take the hindmost. That was the position of the UNC under Mr. Pandey. It was never country before party. It was always party before country. And we see that taking place now. So Mr. Abraham is offering himself a service should the UNC come back into office in 2025. And knowing Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, the process by which she selects, because she had 5 ministers of national security, all of a sudden she recognizes the need to increase the retirement age for Defense Force officers from 45 to 60, right? I think they have a similar division thing. If you're in a particular rank, you get till 60, but of the lower ranks is 45. She suddenly had a light bulb moment and realized, hey, it's a good idea to increase it to 60. But while she was Prime Minister from 2010 to 2015, she had not 1, not 2, but 3 of her 5 national security ministers were former Defense Force officers. The first one, John Sandy, Brigadier. The second one, Gary Griffith, Captain. The third one, Carl Alfonso, Brigadier. 3 of them were former Defense Force officers. None of them told you then that that was a good idea to increase the retirement age because you were facing a crime problem then, because as I quoted the statistics before, in 2013, under her, we were the 3rd most criminal country. 2014, we were the 5th most criminal country under her. Right? But none of them, of the 3 of the 5, thought it best to do that. None of them. Okay? But all of a sudden now, it's a good idea. So it's likely that should they come back into office, maybe Mr. Abraham would be made the Minister of National Security and he could espouse these virtues, these values here to the police. Laws are a waste of time. You kill 1. Why you didn't kill 6? Why you didn't kill 6? No difference would it make? Send a message so that the rest of them gonna don't come and try to rub here. Let them know 1 shot, 1 kill. We ain't playing. And we don't care who want to protest and burn tire on the highway and obstruct the rest of the public. To hell with them. Deal with them. Remember, as Prime Minister, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, but I will talk about that on another day. Release the dogs of war. You remember she said that in dealing with crime when she was opening the Piaco police station? Unleash the dogs of war. Give no quarter. You know what give no quarter means? Show no mercy. Back in medieval times, when they say give no quarter, so men dueling, eh? Give no quarter means those pay life. Yes, he's down on his back, down and out. Kill him, finish it. That's what she said. Release, unleash the dogs of war. Give no quarter. That's what she said. We will bring them to their knees. And when they get them to their knees, put a bullet to their head. We don't care if you're 14, 16, 19. 3 of the men who were charged yesterday or the day before for the home invasion in Arangwes, 2 out of the 3 were teenagers. One was 14 and the other one was 19. What's their solution? Give no quarter. Bring them to their knees. You shoot one. Why you didn't kill the next 5? Right? Because they are menace to society. Deal with the parents. The parents are the 14-year-old and the parents are the 19-year-old. That's what you need to do. When you start charging parents for that, then maybe we might see an improvement. Because then you would have delinquent parents, errant parents, starting to take more active role in the lives of the children. Rather than, well, he ain't performing good in school, and it's every Monday morning I have to be going in the school because they suspended. And the principal, I fed up at the principal calling me, and I fed up at the teacher calling me. Look, like, it's best you drop out of school. Because I fed up. I don't know what else to do. You know how many times I've heard that? I fed up at this so-and-so boy. It's every so-and-so week I have to be going in school. Get call it. He now come out of suspension, and the first day he gone back, he gets suspended again. I'm effing fed up. That's what you hear. Right? It's best. It makes sense. Because I'm wasting my money. When you going to school for and you ain't doing nothing. When you see the report card at the report book at the end of the term, nothing. Nothing of sense. Right? It's only F. Failing everything. So what's the point? Right? Yeah. When he decide you go and learn a trade or something, I give up on him. So you go on to work and you don't know what is he doing. Who he lying with and you couldn't care. You make him up. You bring him into the world. But you go on to work because that is not your problem no more. Your job was to send him to school. It makes sense for him to go to school. He prefer to stay home and lie with the boys on the block or let him fix up. When you have parents making utterances the likes of, well, it's only a matter of time before I get a call from the police telling me they find the body somewhere. As a parent, you write off your child already. You just making funeral preparations. You're just waiting for that call. Hey, he dead? Will it take long? You know how long I'm waiting for that call? In the meantime, while you're waiting for the call, you're distressing people. Taking people's lives. Yeah? Taking people's property. But you wash your hands of it. You wash your hands of it. That is why I say, the parents should have been sitting in a cell with you. The 14 and the 19-year-old, that was your responsibility. More so the 14-year-old too, because he's under 18. He's under 18, and this nonsense that we like to talk about is because of poverty and as a single parent home. Miss me with that BS. I always make the point. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother raised 5 of us. My father died when I was a baby, right? And my younger sister, she was 9 months, and I was just a year and something. All of us. The eldest was 14 at the time. And my mother raised 5 of us on her own. None of us, well, see for the eldest, who, and you always have a black sheep in the family. Yeah, because he was doing very, very well in school, and then after that, he just went on. But the rest of us did very well. Very well. And I always make the point, my mother was a disciplinarian. That when she put down the law, this is how it works. School on vacation, I don't want all you going out, play in the yard. Next door, your cousins living next door, play there. Your aunt and your grandmother living 2 houses down, go there. Don't go to anybody else's yard. I don't want you all in anybody else's yard. Stay inside and read book. Right? And people used to say, what? That my mother figured that her children better than everybody else would. Yes, she used to always say, I don't care. I'm putting words in my mouth to say, my children better than everybody else would. And that is why they will stay in the yard. I tell them that. And she used to always tell us, don't time me. Don't think that when school on vacation, that, well, mommy coming home 5 o'clock, so we could do whatever or go across where we're not supposed to go. You know, many times came home early when we're not supposed, I remember that one time I always tell that story. My older brother had a bike, BMX, going to work. The bike come, my mother said, Do not go out the road and ride this bike. Stay inside. My younger sister and I take it upon ourselves, go on the road to ride bike. After 2, 3 o'clock in the evening, taking turn. She ride up the road and ride back down, and then I doing the same thing. I just had my turn, and as my sister jump on the bike to head up the road, and I look right, my mother come in, leather belt, wrap around her hand, and I looking to run. She said, "You little wretch, don't bother to run." I take my cocktail right there in the road. Embarrassment. I take my cocktail. She always tell us don't run, because if you run, the licks will be worse. My sister coming back down the road and see me getting licks, drop the bike and bust it, going through another road to go home. And I get my licks. When I finish get my licks now, my mother sent me to pick up the bike. My sister dropped the bike up the road. Now I had to take the walk of shame to walk up the road, because by now the neighbors come out and see the commotion, see me get my tail cut in the road. I have to walk up the road to get the bike to go home. Yeah? But when I reach home, I tell my sister, no, you're not supposed to run. So you know you're going to get it. My girl put on all kind of short pants and all kind of thing under her skirt. When my mother stayed and talked to my aunt a little bit, and then she came home. Licks. But she was a disciplinarian. So we knew our place. You're going to school, school is to learn. As long as you're going to school, home, school. Don't come and ask me nothing about going online. I don't want to hear nothing about no line. Right? I don't want to hear nothing about no boyfriend and girlfriend. That is not what I'm sending you out to school to do. Go to school, get your education. And when you finish school, if you only want to go online, fine. Don't come and tell me nothing about no line. I don't want to hear who going Club Coconuts. I don't want to hear who going down the islands. Miss me with that. So we knew, don't even bother. And that is why we were able to do well in our exams. We didn't come with the single parent nonsense. We didn't come with that. Discipline. When you discipline your child and they know, don't play. I always tell the story when my mother jacked up my brother on the wall. She said, "You want to play Cassius, play inside here? I am man inside here. Me, I'm the boss. Know your place." My brother was 21 years old, the other one, and they're still cut. He going to fight. He going to fight, and my mother tell you, "Don't leave home," and you want to fight? Yeah, well, she meet him in the road. Licks. You all came out well. You see? Because she was a disciplinarian. Do what it is you're supposed to do the right thing, and you wouldn't have to get licks. We don't have that today. Parents want to go in school and beat the teacher. They want to go and beat the principal, right? Because you talk to my child over. They want to go and beat other students. Make a ruckus in the road. Yeah, you bullying my child? You want to go and fight. But we wonder why it is we are where we are. Yeah? 14 years. He went to school? Clearly, he didn't go to school. But I want to touch on that for a minute. You know, there's a saying, an often repeated saying in this country, that Trinidad is not a real place. Let me give you all an example. As I said, I have a lot of stuff. I can't deal with everything today, but I will deal with as much as I can, and the rest I will deal with on another day. So I dealt with Johnny Abraham. Let me get this for you all, right? In 2014, Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport, right? You all know about that whole situation, the live sport issue. And we wonder why it is crime is where it is today in this country, right? Let me read this. Carl Membert, the Minister of Finance, the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin Northeast, brought a motion of censure against Anil Roberts for the live sport issue. So everybody, opposition, government get up and they say they peace and so on. Mr. Roberts got up and he spoke for quite a while in defense of himself and live sport. He said a lot. And I looked at his entire presentation. In fact, I looked at the presentation of a number of members of parliament that day, because at that time, we had the Sunshine Hour program on 91.9, and Mr. Warner also made a contribution that day when he made all the revelations of all of the different companies like Dustbin Divers and whoever got contracts under the live sport program, right? All of that information is on Hansard, but they want to tell you live sport was above board. I listened to get information for the Sunshine Hour program, because we used to have it in the morning and in the afternoon. And Dean, myself, Janelle, and Nigel used to do the afternoon program, and sometimes Dean and Dean used to be on in the morning, right? Anil Roberts said something in his presentation that I don't know if the media didn't pick it up. if it is that it went over the heads of the majority of the citizens. But it left me very concerned. And so when I use the term Trinidad is not a real place, this is one prominent example. Let me read you all what Anil Roberts said. This is the 27th of June, 2014. Honorable Anil Roberts, and I'm reading here from Hansard. He says, right, let me see if let me get it here. Right. Let me get this whole thing here. Yes. Mr. Honorable Anil Roberts. So the speaker tells him he has 6 minutes left. 6 minutes and doggy fresh. That is enough time for me. Mr. Speaker, we have a letter here, and I have about 20 of them. I will not bore you with all, but I will tell you that young men have written testimonials across the country. One time, I want you to listen to this, sir. One time we had an award session for the art competition, whether in basketball, windball, cricket, and football. And we had a little function for them at the Crown Plaza. Now, you must understand, the mere fact that they dress up to come to the Crown Plaza, while it may seem like nothing to you and to me, it was a huge event for them. They were so happy and proud to be in that venue with nice carpet and chandelier and pretty trophies and so on. The mere fact that they were there uplifted their spirit and their self-esteem. That is what life sport is. Now you see, they always want to talk about the poor at risk, the black youth. You see the whole thing he made about this, so they had a function in Crown Plaza for the black youth, at-risk black youth. Same like you do, they pay Salon Ryan a certain money to do a report on the state of the at-risk black youth in Trinidad and Tobago. What did they do with that report? This multi-page report. No reference is being made of that now in Kamala Persad-Visessa's grandiose crime plan that she has, that should she come back in office, she'll roll out, right? But that is how they see at black youth, that, you know, is like never see, come see. That's why when they had, and I always say, when the launch of Color Me Orange in the Hilltop, they bring a whole set of police in riot gear because, hey, is a set of never see, come see people from East Dry River and East Port of Spain who come in here. They never come to Hilton. So, you know, they're like, yeah, we need to have riot police because they will come and mash up the people thing. They're not accustomed seeing chandelier and nice carpet. Yeah, we talking there, right? I continue, but that's not the point I wanted to make. He goes on to say, that is what life sport is. And when I was giving my speech to them, I told them, I do not want to say that I am no Pena, you know, Juliana Pena. That was Mr. Mings. Yeah. I told them, listen, this program will come under threat from all over. I do not even know from where. From inside, outside, around, all over. Because the powers that be, the gatekeepers, do not want young people who have nothing to come up in society. Because then there will be less for those who want to be in Renaissance Towers and those who want to be in government and those who on that side who already started to divvy up contracts. There will be less for them if more was involved. So understand, this man was a minister of sport, now a senator, with hopes of becoming a minister again, probably sport again. Is planting in the minds of these young, impressionable men that if life sport fails, no, the only reason why it fails is because there are persons in high office in this country who wants it to fail because they don't want all it to come up, right? It's not because of the corruption that's taking place, not because of all the corruption that you will hear that would have taken place in this program. No, that is not it. The only reason why, if the Prime Minister decides today to end this program, understand is because they ain't like all the little black boys. They want to see all the prosper. Yeah? They don't dismiss all the little black boys already. You all ain't no damn good. And this one program that I create for all, so all they could come up in society and get a little something, they want to take it from all because all these little black boys. So when they shut down the program, know who you have to hate. Know who you need to take up your guns against. Not me. He said, he don't know if it is that the opposition will come from inside. He's inside. The People's Partnership or outside. To shut down the program. So all the little black boys ain't gonna get nothing. So you plant that in their mind. When the program finish, you know they say, yeah, watch. All of them big shot and them, all of them 1% and them, you see, they want we to get up to move up like them. They want we to have what them have. You hear Anil say that? That is why they shut down the program. They want we to have what them have. So automatically you have planted seeds of hatred in the minds of these young men for these people who you claim don't want the life support program to prosper, because they don't want the little black boy and them to move up in society. So they see in all these people who Anil have said are against them as the enemy, and we have to do them. We have to rob them and kill them because they don't want us to earn an honest dollar. They find we're supposed to suffer for the whole time that we did. This is Anil Roberts, Minister of Sport, telling these young men this in an award function. And you're wondering why crime is where it is today. See, he's their mind. They have certain elements in society. Those who have don't want them to make and don't want them to move up. So you know what? Get rid of them. We have to deal with them. Them started to kill and rob. They will take what they have. But you wonder why crime is where it is. I continue. That's not the point I wanted to raise, but it came out. Yeah, but he goes on to say, where is it here, right? Yes, this is it. He says, the pie will have to go around. I said, so be careful. You will have to give me ammunition to fight for you. And the ammunition is success. Give me achievements. Show me that you are coming to the program. Show me that you will put down the crime, that you would stop, that you are moving into training, and so on. Here's the part I wanted to get to. A young man from Labre, after I talk, and I could talk, so I get a little a round of applause and thing now. A young boy from Labre run and grab the mic. Rudal Munilal. Who? Jeffrey? Meaning Fitzgerald Jeffrey. Meaning Fitzgerald Jeffrey, who was at the time the member of parliament. Right? Robert said, nah, it wasn't Jeffrey. One of his constituents, a young boy. Go on. Robert Chan says, he have a life sport program and they are against it, meaning the PNM. This is the part I want to get to. They are against it, well, no problem, but we are not against it, and we are the government for the whole country, including PNM constituency. So whether they want it or not, we will, poor black people, get up and get off the streets in a sustainable future. And the fella said, he grabbed the mic and he said, hear what the fella said. Boss man, I can't talk like you. I can't talk like you, you know. But you thank everybody. You thank this one, you thank that one, but I want to thank you, boss. I want to thank you because all them men here know I was up this. Open brackets. Displays gun signal with forefinger. Right? I was up this. What that means? I was up this. That's what is in Hansard. He goes on to say, I was up this and I put on man already. Let me repeat that. I was up this and I put on man already. This is on Hansard. Anil Roberts is saying that a young man told him that. But this, Mr. Man, right? That's not. We get to the black off. Right. He said, I put on man already. But this, I rest on that. And I'm not going back to that. And you better ensure, Mr. Man, talking to me, that this program stay because we need it. My children need it. My children tell me, Daddy, we're happy that you come off. We could see you. You could play football with us. That is the testimonial of 2,097 young black boys and men across Trinidad and Tobago. You had an individual come up on stage during an award ceremony telling you he was of this. And he put down man already. What put down man already means? All them here know, all them men here know, I was of this. That young man, regardless of the fact that he's a young man, confessed to having put down man already. He should have left Crown Plaza in cuffs. He was supposed to leave Crown Plaza in the back seat of a police vehicle on his way to CID. Hansard, Anil Roberts said that. This happened at an awards function. The young man said that all them boys here know I do that. So they know that he killed already, that he put on man already. So to some extent, they are accomplices to murder. How many man he put on? How many? 1, 2, 5, he didn't say the number here, but all he said was he put on man already. Police investigating. How many of those are active murder cases of the men that he put on already? Nobody saw it fit to question him. Anil Roberts said that in the parliament. Did the police go and ask Anil Roberts after, well, you made a statement there that is of interest to us. You could provide us with information on this young man? So 2014, not too long after the ceremony, because life sport didn't last that long. Who was the young man? Today, life sport finished, the program done. Here we say, he told Anil, so I counted on you to make sure this program continue, right? Try not have that, because the program put on that. So the life sport program ended. What did he do? Did he go back and put on more men? That's the problem. This was said on national TV in the parliament. At the time when this was said, when the young man said it at Crown Plaza, nobody saw it fit to say, call the police there to talk to this man. No, normal thing. He say what he had to say. He confessed to put in young man. And at the end of it, he leave and he gone. Life sport program finished, no opportunities. I had to pick back up this. Because that's how I was making my living before. Hansard, June 27, 2014. So when it is you hear sometimes they say Trinidad is not a real place. In another jurisdiction, he wasn't leaving Crown Plaza in the way that he came in cuffs. You had some questions to answer, right? We don't know how much he put on and how many he has put on since and if he's still alive. But we just let that slide. But we want to know why crime is where it is today. Because things like these will allow to slide. The authorities whose responsibility it is to deal with matters like that ain't dealing with that. You know why? 9 officers arrested for extortion. Eastern Division, extorting money from businesses. They get their salary every month, but working in businesses and collecting tax every month. When the people had earned money. 9 of them. The people who took an oath to protect and serve. The people who are supposed to be arresting persons who doing those things are themselves engaging in it. So who guarding the guard? Who is guarding the guard? But they're not talking about that, Hines must go. Rowley must go. The PNM must go. Yeah, great is the PNM. All vote for that. All vote on race. That's why the crime situation in the country is where it is. That's why it is where it is. Has nothing to do with the fact that people don't trust the police. And I have an article to read on that too. I come into that. But the Professional Standards Bureau, when you read the article, some of the persons, the business owners who said that they were extorted, say, you know how long we reporting that to the Professional Standards Bureau? You know how long we carry footage, video footage, recordings of this thing happening? And it's only now because the footage make its way on social media and the Professional Standards Bureau can't cover it up. They can't ignore it anymore because it is out there and people will ask the question, what the hell going on with that? That all of a sudden, within the space of weeks, arrests made. 9 of them. 9 of them. How many of them are senior officers? But we want to know why crime is. Blame Hines for that. That is Fitzgerald Hines' fault. That's Keith Rowley's fault and that's the PNM fault. And I'm going to read this article for you. You see, it's not now, It's not now. We want to blame the minister. Make a volley another one. The UNC always saying that PNM, that 8 years later, and they're still blaming Kamala and still blaming the People's Partnership and blaming the UNC for what happening in the country today. But Eric Williams dead 42 years now. They're still blaming he. 42 years, he dead. They're still blaming him for what happened in the country today. But we mustn't go back 8 years. Then, PNM passed through 2 oil boom. And the money passed through the country like those assaults, and we should have been like Dubai. Always talking that nonsense that we should have been like Dubai. We never had the kind of oil production that Dubai had. The daily oil production, where we're talking millions of barrels a day. And at our best, we're probably at 300 and something barrels. But all you expect that we would be like them. Look at where Ghana is 700 and something thousand barrels. We were never at that level. We would never, if it is that we were ever at that level, certainly we would have been a little closer to the Dubai. But anyway, I ain't talking that today. I want to read this article for you. Because we put in the spotlight on everything else except where the spotlight needs to be, on the police service, whose job it is. This is a Guardian editorial dated the 18th of March, 2013. 2013. Who was in charge in 2013? Not Kid Rowley and not the PNM. The main function of a police service is prevention and detection of crime, using various strategies to stop criminal activities, build positive relationships with the public, and keep communities safe. Our police service doing that? Are they? Police officers are supposed to catch serious offenders and ensure their conviction so that others are discouraged from lives of crime or even venturing into an infraction or two. Police officers are supposed to catch serious offenders and ensure their conviction. Not, as Johnny Abraham said, you kill one, why you didn't kill all six? Not the laws ain't working, so deal with them and know what to say after, right? This is 2013. In all of these areas, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is an abysmal failure, as evidenced by its own statistics. This is 2013. This is 2013, right? Not 2017, not 2023, 2013, where the Trinidad Guardian is saying, in all of these areas, catching serious offenders, ensuring their conviction, discouraging others from venturing into crime, build positive relationships with the public, keep communities safe, use various strategies to stop criminal activities. In all of those areas, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is an abysmal failure. It goes on to say, overall, right, just now, a report in Monday's TNT Guardian contains statistics from the TTPS's Crime and Problem Analysis Branch, CAPA, which shows that of the 91 murders committed for the year so far, only 8 have been solved, a detection rate of less than 10%. This is the 18th of March 2013. As at the 18th of March 2013, under Mrs. The government which I led brought crime down to the lowest in decades, 91 murders by the 18th of March 2013. But her supporters wasn't saying Kamala must go. Her supporters wasn't saying, well, I think Jack Warner was Minister of National Security at the time, Jack Warner must go. No, they weren't saying that. They're saying, get him another too. Overall, the average detection rate of the TTPS has plummeted in recent years from a dismal 24% to 14%. So it was 24% under the PNM. It was still bad. But the PP came in promising we could deal with crime in 100 days. We have a 100 days crime plan. Detection rate went from 24% to 14%. Right? From 24 to 14. So you all understand why in 2013 we were ranked the third most criminal country in the world. From 24%, we were 14% detection. The data looks even worse compared to rates in the UK, with a population of 60 million people and a detection rate of close to 75%, and the US with a population of 312 million and a detection rate of close to 72%. Such a low detection rate means that hundreds, perhaps thousands of violent criminals are escaping justice, and no wonder so many citizens have lost faith in local law enforcement. While it is true that there are no quick fixes for crime, long-term investment and effort are essential. Imposing harsher laws will be of no effect if criminals continue to escape severe consequences for their illegal activities. The only solution is to work toward higher detection rates, which will discourage criminal lifestyles that too many in TNT continue to enjoy. That is what they're saying. The police need to start apprehending more people, detecting more crimes, solving more crimes. Because when the criminal knows that, hey, if I feel to commit a crime, I want to kill a man, what is the likelihood that the police will catch me? Less than 10%. So there's a 90+% chance that I could kill a man and get away with it. And the police will never catch me. The odds in my favor, I go in and kill him. And the first time I do it, it feels good. I want to kill somebody else. Right? I will do it again because I have a gun. This is not cosmetic. It's not I just something to put it in my waist and walk around. I like the power. When I had that in my hand and I do that. You see, like the young man who Anil spoke about, I like how that is feel. So let me go and rob somebody. And if they play, they talking too hard and they want to fight up, I deal with them. These guys not interested in any 8 to 4. So let's think about this party that driving crime. You feel them kids to go and do any honest day's work? And they could pull back a scalp and make the amount of money that some all are working 8 to 4, 40 hours a week. Make it? You really feel them care for that? So this thing about this poverty, they don't have enough work. They don't care about that. They just living today for today, this week for this week. So if I put on 2 robbery this week and I make a haul, that is enough money to last me for the week, 2 weeks. I give all my child mother and them money to take care of the children and stuff and thing. I could buy my little weed and whatever. And then when that money done, I put on my next robbery. I don't have nobody over my back telling me what to do all day. And I lock down for 8 hours, 1 hour for lunch. And the rest of the time I sweat in that factory. Me going through that. I could rob 2 people. And if I rob the right person, I could make enough money for the whole month. The only thing I need money for gas in the car. And I said I had 3, 4, 5 child mother. You handle them. Give me a little U-turn them something and I good. Smoke my weed. High grade. I rock back for the day till it's time for the next robbery. Who run any drug blocks? I continue. According to the study, even a small increase in detection leads to substantial reduction in crime and plays a sustained role in preventing crime. It is therefore imperative that Acting Commissioner of Police Stephen Williams and his executive in the TTPS begin urgent and immediate efforts to reverse their low crime detection rate. And now, what was interesting about that? When Stephen Williams, I will never forget that press conference. I almost fall off my chair. That Stephen Williams, who was the Commissioner of Police, then said, well, right now our crime detection rate is about 10%, but we're aiming to get it to about 20%. About 20% by the end of the year. So in other words, for every 10 murders that is committed, right now we're only solving 1, but we're hoping to be able to solve 2 by the end of the year. That's what that means. We're only solving 1 now, but we're hoping to be able to solve at least 2 by the end of the year. But Hines must go. Rowley must go. But this is 2013. It wasn't Kamala must go. It wasn't whoever was Minister of National Security at that time must go. No. Blame everybody else. I continue. Here this part. While they are at it, they should seriously consider the views of head of the Police Complaints Authority, Gillian Lucky, who is now a High Court judge, who, in a recent newspaper column, identified 2 developments tied to the low detection rate. I want to let you hear this. This is Gillian Lucky, who was at the time the head of the Police Complaints Authority, is today a High Court judge. Here are the 2 things that she said was responsible for the low detection rate in 2013. 1, the dismantling of SAUT, SAUTT, that was established under Patrick Manning. And 2, the decommissioning of the blimp. 2 initiatives of the PNM under Manning, SAUT and the blimp. Gillian Lucky, as the head of the PCA, is telling you that these 2 things is why the crime situation deteriorated in 2013. 2 things that the People's Partnership dismantled when they came into office. Aside from the war is on the land, it's not on the sea, so we don't need any OPVs, so we get rid of the OPVs. We get rid of the OPVs, you get rid of SAUT, and you get rid of the blimp. And Gillian Lucky, when I was in the race, telling you those 2 things, according to her, let me read it here properly. In a recent column, she identified 2 developments tied to the low detection rate, dismantling of SAUT and the decommissioning of the blimp. SAUT focused on best practices in investigations, using technology to detect and identify criminals, and was taking law enforcement, especially in the area of crime detection, to the next level, Gillian Lucky wrote. SAUT, the Special Anti-Crime Unit of Trinidad and Tobago, established under Patrick Manning. Gillian Lucky, as PCA Director, is telling you that unit was focused on best practices in investigations, using technology to detect and identify criminals, and was taking law enforcement, especially in the area of crime detection, to the next level. Now, if you have an entity that is bringing so much benefits to the reduction in crime, why the hell would you dismantle it? You know what's the excuse? That it was illegal. That Manning and the PNM didn't bring the necessary legislation to make the unit legal, so we need to get rid of it. Rather than you bring the legislation to the parliament to make it legal, because remember, SAUT, it wasn't just local officers. You had officers from the UK, Scotland Yard, and who were here as SRPs, and were bringing their specialized training to Trinidad and Tobago to benefit the citizens of this country. Up-to-date technology and all of that. They were working with the locals to provide them with their training skills as well, upgrading the investigatory skills of our locals. Something like that was taking crime investigation, crime detection to the next level, according to Gillian Lucky. Kamala and them say it's illegal. Get rid of it. Cost the state, cost you, the taxpayers, so much money, because Brigadier Peter Joseph and the rest of them who sued for wrongful dismissal. Joseph had gotten $1 million, and I don't know how much the rest of them got. Right? But they got rid of SWOT. All because, why? We realize this unit is yielding results. And we cannot sustain or maintain something that Patrick Manning and the PNM did. Never mind the fact that it's working, because you know why? If it is that crime continues to fall, then we wouldn't be able to take credit for it. The PNM could beat their chest and say it's because of SWOT that they put in place, and because of the blip, and because of the things that they put in place is why we are reaping the results of crime. So you know what? We need to get rid of everything that the PNM put in place, so that if it is that we are successful in bringing crime down, the PNM can't take no credit for it. None. Party before country. Party before country. I continue. SWOT focused on the right, so I said that. However, the previous regime ignored calls to ensure the unit was operating within a legal framework and to promote its accomplishments. So the current government wasted no time in dismantling it. Again, this has always been the problem of the PNM. This has been the problem. This is who they're talking about here. The previous regime, the Manning regime, ignored the calls to ensure the unit was operating within a legal framework. Bring the bloody legislation and legalize the thing so that when the UNC come in, they couldn't interfere with it. But no, we dragging we foot because it yielding results. So that is just politics, forget them. The second thing, and they ignored calls to promote its accomplishments. So SWOT was doing good work. SWOT was yielding results. But of course, typical PNM, we don't promote the good things that the government doing. So you're yielding results, but you ain't promoting it. You ain't letting the population know, well, look, these are the statistics. This is what SWOT has been able to accomplish and achieve so that the citizens could get behind it and support you. So that when the People's Partnership came into office, when they made the effort to dismantle it, the population would have said, hey, hold up. What are you doing? All you ain't seeing the statistics that show anything working. What are you going and dismantle that for? But because the PNM didn't promote it, it was easy for the PP to come in and dismantle it and say, well, it's illegal and whatnot and stuff. And there was nothing for the PNM people to hold up and say, well, look, not even just PNM alone, no, citizens, the right thinking ones to say, well, look, the thing working. They couldn't do that. And we're still doing that nonsense today. Still doing that nonsense. Not promoting the good work of the government and allowing the opposition to come and spread the lies and the propaganda to say the government is doing nothing. At 8 years, what they do? Tell me 5 things that the PNM do in the 8 years. Because you're not promoting what it is you're doing. Right? And that is the problem. But we expect to win an election based on that. Those who do not learn from the past, doomed to repeat it. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So doing good work, but don't promote it. Don't let the country know what it is that you're doing and you expect that you, anyway. I continue. In the case of the blimp, its achievements in the fight against crime are unknown to the wider public. In the case of the blimp, its achievements in the fight against crime are unknown to the wider public. So the blimp was achieving things, but guess what? Keep it hush-hush. We don't need to promote it. If people can see the good work, they'll see these figures coming down. So we don't need to promote it, right? So the wider public don't know. So that when the PP come in and they get rid of that too, well, who to defend it? You never gave the people anything of substance to defend you or to defend those two entities. So what are we supposed to do? PP say it ain't making sense, get rid of it. Immediate action is needed, and there will be severe economic, social, and political consequences in TNT if TNT continues to be burdened with a weak, inefficient police service. This is 2013. This is a Guardian editorial in 2013 telling you that there will be severe economic, social, and political consequences if Trinidad and Tobago continues to be burdened with a weak, inefficient police service. Not with a weak, inefficient Minister of National Security. Not with a weak, inefficient Prime Minister. Not with a weak, inefficient government. A weak and inefficient police service. 10 years later, 2023, we are seeing the realization of this, that the Guardian predicted 10 years ago economic, social, and political consequences as a result of a weak and inefficient police service. The crime detection rate has since gone down because you have a set of police officers who are themselves involved in crime, a set of police officers who are themselves behind bars or before the court, having been charged for misbehavior in public office, for engaging in criminal conduct. Right? No increase, no improvement in the detection rate. So criminals feel emboldened to go out and commit the crime because they know the likelihood of me getting caught is slim to none. But we wonder why it is we are where we are today. But blame the minister and the prime minister and the government, not the police. But at the end of the day, we have people who are coming into the police service for the wrong reasons. Not to protect and serve. Some of them. But a lot of them coming in there because you know what? They have a vendetta, a score to settle. It have a man I want to slap real bad and he can't hit. I want to be in a position where he can't hit my back. It have a man I want to put a dread cocktail on. I will lock him up. I will plant something and lock him up since he want to play thing. Right? So that's your reason for going into the service. But the unfortunate thing is the police service is not attracting the caliber of people that they need. So they have to pick from whatever, what they get, that's what they have to work with. So the people who are inclined towards the academia, the people who may be inclined towards advancing themselves in terms of investigative skills and so on, they're not getting those. They're getting the man who, as soon as he joined the police service, is a big tattoo, right? And he can't wait to strut around the neighborhood with a gun strap because he's police. Because he's police and he can put me to lie down on the ground. I could tell them, I could make them do what I want because I police. And I want to be able to walk around and people refer to the boss, over the boss. Not for what is required, not for crime detection, not for crime prevention. No, it's to take advantage of people. So when you walk in a police station and yeah, good days, I came to. Yeah, sit down there. That's now. Somebody will come to you. The couple of occasions that I had reason to go to the police service to report vehicular an accident, a routine traffic accident where I wasn't in the wrong. Twice I got hit going in the police station. I didn't want to go in the station because based on the stories that I hear about the way police officers treat you inside there, like by the time you leave the station, you feeling like you are the criminal. I didn't want to go there. I'll admit there were once or twice I went in a station and the service was better than what I expected. But the most of the time you're hearing complaints of people who go inside there treating you like you're a criminal. I heard Darian Marcel recounting a couple of days ago about his experiences. They're not dealing with customer service. The issue of confidentiality. People don't have confidence in the police service. They don't have confidence that, do you know how many people that have out there who have information that could solve crimes? But if I go and tell the police, by the time I walk out the police station, I'm a statistic. By the time I walk out the police station, the next day, they have a file on the desk for another murder to investigate. Because I went and gave information. And as soon as I leave the police station, or even while I sit down in the station giving the information, to have an ex-officer behind making a call, hey, so somebody come inside there and they gain information on your body. You need to deal with that. They send the boys, and by the time the person walk out the station and they waiting for a maxi or they jump in a car, they dealt with. That's the end of that. This is what people are afraid of. So they're not going and talk. They're not going to give evidence. They're not going to give any information. Why? Because they can't trust the police. They don't know who to trust. And that is the problem in this country. So what we need to be doing is dealing with rebuilding public confidence and trust in the police service, so people who have information that could lead to solving up several crimes will feel comfortable to go and give information, but we're not there yet. We need to improve the crime detection rate. Now, oh God, our next file on my desk, but deal with that, yes? And you come in and do some half-tail investigation. You come in and ask, okay, yeah, right, put our file there. Next one. I have 2 or 3 other cases I deal in. The public don't have confidence in the police. And unless the police increase it, you see, that was the thing under Gary Griffith. He was able to create this facade that, hey, we doing thing, that Gary go fine you. If you commit a crime, Gary will fine you. Right? That is why the criminals were afraid, SORT, S-O-R-T, not S-A-U-T-T. The latter version, S-O-R-T. But the men and them when army fatigue, that when they come for you, they will find you. And that is what they were afraid of. But we don't have that anymore because Mr. Jacob dismantled SORT. After At first he had put Senior Superintendent Alexander to lead sort, and then the next thing we hear sort disbanded. But when them fellas know what happened to the two guys in the Andrea Barrett situation, it's nah boy. You commit a crime and them fellas come for you, but no, you know what going to happen to you. Your cocktail book, as they like to say, they will soften you before you reach in the police station. And when you reach in the police station, they're going to soften you again. That is the kind of basic. Is that how we're supposed to run a police service? Well, if it works. But I'm saying, what the criminals need to be afraid of is the possibility, the real possibility that they will be caught. But so long as there is no belief that they will get caught, because the abysmal detection rate that currently exists, they will continue to commit crimes. Because they know the witness is not going to give any statement because they're afraid they get killed. And we continue like that. But we wonder why the crime situation is where it is. What are we doing? Desmond Carty say, all are we thief. One of the most misconstrued, misrepresented statements about your man padding the payroll. Padding the payroll, no, but then you want to come and rough up the paymaster for money that your husband may make. Huh? You're working dude. But when you're supposed to be doing the people work, you're driving maxi, you're thieving. That is what he meant. And he gave examples. But we have so many, criminal activity taking place. Over the weekend, the Easter weekend, $2 million in tickets, traffic tickets given out. $2 million in tickets. You know why? Because you broke the law. That's why you got a ticket. You broke the law. So you're a criminal. There are no big crime and small crime. You committed a crime. You broke the law. But everybody thinks, oh yeah, that's small thing. I ain't kill nobody. Me ain't rob nobody. So I big crime. I ain't nothing big crime. But the small things I will do. All are we thief. That's what he meant. When you don't have regard for the law, or as Mr. Abraham said, law in Trinidad, forget that. So we do what we have to do. Let us be expedient. Whatever is expedient, we'll do that. So if it means that we need to kill a few of them to send a message to the rest of them who contemplate it, let me do that. Yeah, that's the answer to solve crime in Trinidad and Tobago. Right. So every Monday morning there's a protest because the family of the men who get killed want to block the highway and protest. But they themselves know their family members and they know where the gun hiding, they know where the cocaine is, where the weed is, right? They know how many people their family member killed. But snitches get stitches. And the stitches that they get is the stitches from the autopsy. Because you're going to get killed. So we keep quiet. Half of them, they benefiting from the proceeds of crime. When your son come home, he working nowhere, draws no pay, but he come and hand you $1,000, $2,000, and he say, Mommy, hold that. Where we get that from? Oh gosh, Mommy, you like thing, eh? No, me, I mean nothing, I just said thing. Where you get that from? You know he working nowhere. And the likelihood is that he got that from somebody he robbed. Or some work that he did, illegal job that he did, and he get paid for that. But you taking it. You're happy, and you take it and you chuck it in your bosom, so, and that is to buy grocery next week. That is to go in the market. That is to go and do your hair. Right? Daddy hold that now. Where you get that from, man? God, daddy, oh God, yeah, give me a see that. Right. That's for you to go by the bar and line with the boys. You drinking wrongs on somebody's head. Some honest person who just get robbed. Some family member who just get killed. You go in and you use the money. You using that to go and like yourself. Right? You looking to fix up your car and buy 20-inch rims. Or for the hard work of other people. And you know your blasted son in crime. You know your nephew in crime, your bloody neighbor. You know what it is they're doing. But you ain't saying nothing. That ain't not your business. Because at the end of the day, you collecting a little something and you glad. When the police catch up with them, well, all right. But until then, let me eat off the spoils of the land. And meanwhile, it is stressing people and distressing the country. But great is the PNN. Rowley must go and Hines must go. And folks, it is 12:54, right? And I have something to do. As I said, I could not do justice to this topic in one day. Okay? I have a lot of other articles that I need to read, right? Exposing. Remember, we debunking the lies of the UNC. Plenty more things to read. Okay? So, as I said, the spirit movement, I might come on Tuesday morning, or if I decide by today or tomorrow, I will let my people know, the folks here, so that we can advertise it. Otherwise, we will continue the discussion on Thursday morning. Plenty more. Thursday, we dealing with Kamla and Motomot Gary. Since both of them, their solution to crime is to give people more gun. As she said, when she come in office, she intends any laws that the PNM puts in place to make it difficult for the law-abiding citizen to get gun, she go and remove that, and you want gun, come for gun. Once a law-abiding citizen, come and get gun. And he's saying, don't worry, put me in office, and I will give all your gun. So that is the, both of them, that's the answer. Look, let me put more gun. As she said, imagine you sit down in your house, and you're hearing gunshots outside your house, and what you sit down there like a lame duck. What are you supposed to do? You're going to run outside with a cutlass, you run outside with a knife. That's why you need a gun. So you hear gunshots outside your house that might have nothing to do with you. You run inside and pull your gun and you run outside like Sheriff Danrad Singh. You're ready to shoot. The bacchanal has nothing to do with you, but you have gun. Have gun, will shoot. Run outside. That is the solution to crime. When it is you think you now get gun, you're feeling trigger happy. Right? You and the neighbor a little get away, a little fall out, you pull your gun. Pow. You intend to shoot, but you want to brandish gun to show anybody you have a gun. And then the next thing, trigger pull, man get shoot, and you end up behind bars. But that is the solution. Give everybody gun. Only one, you want gun, come and get. We're dealing with that Tuesday, right? Tuesday, or maybe Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. But enjoy the rest of your Sunday, folks. It was a pleasure as always. And I will certainly intend to enjoy mine. I have some work to do, but yeah. Let me see who there. Jenny Joseph, good job. Enjoy the rest of it. Thank you, Jenny. Lisselle Davis. Who else I have here? Anna Sisnet. Thank you, Dominic, for great day. People have a great day, people. Angie, yes, please get home safely. Well, I'm already home. Yeah. Who else we have there? Alche Alit says share bamboo Tuesday. Oh gosh. You can't listen to the deal. All right. Angie, I'll make a special effort. Right? I think I'll make a special effort this Tuesday to deal with it. Kathy Ann Townsend says, thanks for your logical analysis of the issues. Veronica Jack, thank you. It's a pleasure. Clayton Smith, Claire Irish. All of you folks there, Point Kumana Sharon says, thank you. Always a pleasure to provide you. Somebody says, was that Dimple says she's praying for the spiritual movement. All right. I'll let you all know by tomorrow if I come in on Tuesday. All right. So again, as I said, enjoy your Sunday, the rest of your day. Share the live, because these lives are always up on the Facebook page, Debunking UNC Lives with Facts, and also on the YouTube page. Facts are stubborn things, or you could go on DOMINIKNR, subscribe to the page, and whenever we come on, you'll be able to get the access to the live. If you're having issues hearing on Facebook, you could always switch across to the YouTube. So just subscribe, and it's all there in the playlist, so you could play it back if it is that you miss it. Yeah, so Joyce and Small White, Victoria Isidore, Deborah Durante, Don Clark, all of you guys, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll probably chat most likely on Tuesday. All right? So I'm out.